between 1 degree and 2 degrees, what do you find? Yes, I need this to be more of a dialogue rather than being a monologue, coming here and just delivering a few lines. I think in fact, you'll find something very interesting between the lion and the roses, what you saw here. There's a very interesting thing to talk about. So between 1 degree and 2 degree, you find 10 feet of water rising the seas. Good afternoon, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sunil D Souza. It's an honor to be here at the TEDx talking about something very dear to our hearts. And it's very important that we share and see the footsteps that we have left in the past and also the people that they've done. So can we retain these footsteps? Can we retain the sea which washes these footsteps every day? Let me ask you a few questions. I'm going to show you some visuals. All right? That is where I said this interaction, this dialogue has to be, by the time that we finish this, I think I need some commitment from yourself. You don't have to tell me what that commitment may be, but I've already done that. And I'm going to tell you in the middle of this presentation or maybe at the end of it, what is that commitment. And I'll show you some visuals. And I think my slides, they do not have much of a narrative there, but it has a lot of deep meaning for you to absorb because we're all involved with these. And before I show these visuals, let me tell you a small story. Last month, I was in Japan with my family. And obviously, it was 1 week after the massive storm that struck Japan, the prefecture of Tokyo, and we were arriving. We went there with a lot of apprehension as to would we be seeing those things, what we wanted to see, if everything is going to be okay. Other people, obviously, I think it is Japanese who are known for the discipline. By the time we arrived, all the roads were clean, everything, whatever that you had, it was there. But you still had the remnants of the flood and the impact the hurricane left on the face of that particular city. And then I imagine what would have been the state of affairs with the people who lived there prior to the arrival of the tornado and during the time they endured it and aftermath of it. And we as tourists only arrived aftermath of it, so probably we have seen only probably 1/10 of the scale. And I was only looking at why these hurricanes happen. When I further researched, Japan gets about 20 to 30 hurricanes or tornadoes every single year. And Japan sits on live volcanoes, some of them. Mount Fuji, for instance, I think every 80 years it erupts in a big, massive way. And we visited that as well. But again, they're living it. They somehow found a way to live amongst all those natural calamities. And again, if I went back in 2006, I was in Nepal. And in Nepal, again, it was, I think 8.3 Richter scale earthquake. I was caught somewhere in the middle of it. Obviously, the epicenter was about 146 miles or kilometers to the south of the city. But I could see, standing in one of the squares where I was shopping, the buildings, the brick buildings, the temples falling down like a deck of cards. And 8,300 plus people died. And there were some, I think hundreds of us who were tourists there. Thank God we saved our lives and we came back. Again, it was the same thought. What did it cause? And how did these people endure all these calamities? And if we ever wondered, I think we are caught in this race every morning. I think we dress up and we go to our office, we work, and at 5 or 6 o'clock we come back. And it repeats day after day, day after day. So priorities for us is limited to what we do and what impacts our families immediately. But we don't overlook at the bigger picture. So what is our bigger home? The nature, the environment. Are we really taking good care of it? Are we really contributing towards its upkeep? Or is there anything that we can do about it? I mean, TEDx is a great platform where the great ideas get discussed. But today I'm not discussing something great about it. I'm only discussing about the idea that had lost its eminence. And probably before we leave this podium, maybe at the end of the speeches, at least we need to do some commitment. Let me show you this picture. This is probably a Photoshop picture about a tsunami hitting a city. Places like Indonesia, there are many countries across the world. I think there is no one single country that I can point out. So you had, wherever it is close to the water bodies, they had tsunamis. We definitely don't want to have this. And what causes tsunami? Again, I think El Nino is one of the prime suspects. And who caused this El Nino? All of our actions. The very water we drink, which is made of plastic. The vehicle that we drive, and whatever the day-to-day, things that we interact with, obviously caused some part of that cost chain of the El Nino, and plus other, gases, or what we call the greenhouse effects. So greenhouse effects are caused by all that we do. But can we avoid it? Yes. In a bit, we'll discuss about that. This is the future, or this is the present that we would like to live with. Can we say today we would like to have, maybe I think most of the places, most of the countries have something like this, a better place to live. Oman is one place, I can tell you, I think after living in this Middle East for the last 30 years, yes, great place to live. Just this morning I was hiking the wadis. I was with Adventure Oman, and what a beauty to see the nature in its pristine form. And I was wondering, would we leave the legacy to our future generations? This is the reality. It happens everywhere. I don't have to name any country or any place because it happens everywhere. Yes, the name of the game is what we call the growth, capitalism, and advancement. But what does it leave? Again, does it also trigger the El Nino? Does it cause all those chains that actually gives rise to the industrial gases, or what we call again the greenhouse gases effects? But again, if you look at, this is the outcome of what you saw previously. Again, who's causing it? Ourselves. Can we possibly contribute something? Can we change the world? Can we change the world? Well, possibly yes, possibly no. But can we change the world in which we live? Because changing the world is a little bit of a formidable task. It takes a while. But we can certainly change the world in which we live, where we impact. And there are a lot of interactions that we do. I'm going to play you a live video for about 30 seconds. And this tells you what happens when one particular natural calamity hits people. And imagine the people who are involved, the kind of feelings, the emotions, and the experiences that they have. And thank God, I think we're probably in a safer place, but let's see how they feel about it. Thank you. This only happened for 30 seconds there. Obviously, it was a very, very long video. Were those people who are caught in that incident, do you think they expected this would happen? If they had expected that this would happen, why would they be standing there in the first place? Right? But again, this is a slice of, glimpse of things to come. May not be in most of the places, but wherever we have the ocean, the seas, and the towns and cities and the countries that are close to it, they might have it. And all these natural, there are three different categories of, I don't really go much deeper into it, but what is that we can do to, make our home, the big home, happy? The big home is asking for help. There are a lot of signs that you can see. Between 1 degree and 2 degrees, when the temperature of this earth goes up by 1 degree, or if it goes up to 1.5 or 2 degrees, the seawater level will rise by 10 feet. This is a research done. All right? In 1800s, the temperature was below 1 degree. Today, it is almost reaching 1 degree plus, almost 1.4, 1.3. The 2015 Paris Agreement, where 196 countries signed the agreement. These are the signatories who said we will go back to our countries and we will work on reducing the carbon footprint and probably work on some other environmental preservation or conservation projects where we will do afforestation, convert the mass transportation into maybe electric, maybe gas to some extent, rather than on a fossil fuel. So they are doing it, and obviously there are some more countries are still awaiting to kind of get on board, because it's very, very important for us to have all these countries, not only them, but all of us to do that. But can we expect the governments and big organizations to kind of chip in? Obviously they are the policymakers, they have a vision, but for them to realize that vision, they want all of us to be part of that big picture. And to bring back our nature in a pristine form, I think a lot needs to be done from everywhere. Let us start this from our home. It is very important for us to begin this journey from home, educating our children, educating ourselves, and bringing about the change, what we want to see in the world, right at our home. Only then can we see the changes to impact the larger picture, and probably we will get to see our Earth in a pristine form again. What must we do? Very simple. When you go to your next shopping trip, don't bring your stuff on the plastic. They have carry bags where you can put the items that you can bring home. Electric cars, obviously, it will take another 5 to 7 years for the mass production. I think Teslas are there, a couple of other companies are marketing cars. When it comes, well, you may have to wait for some time. Carpooling is what is happening. Most of the cities across the world are looking at carpooling, where 10 people don't have to take 10 different cars. And they can go in probably 2 or 3 cars instead of 10 cars. And recycling. I think when you talk about conservation or preservation of nature, 3 things that really sum it up is reduce, recycle, and reuse. Recently, Bill Gates was in one of the countries, and he was offered a glass of water, and he happily drank that water. And what was that water? That was a recycled water from, the bathrooms. And he wanted to prove it, that let him be the first person to do that. And obviously a lot of countries are recycling. There are a lot of commendable work that has been done, but I think a lot more needs to be done. And we also need to look at renewable sources. That is important for us to have. I think not only depend on the fossils, but again, I think a gentleman who said, I think diversification, as part of diversification, lesser dependency on fossil segment or fossil fuels, but more on the other segments. We are talking about 6 different segments. We are there. One of the things that we can do, yes, as expatriates when we go back, I think we have houses where on the roof you can put the solar panels. Your water heater can be a solar heated panel. So you can use that. And what is that we can do? I know you have a long list of things there. I would like to quote some personal things that we did. In my previous organization, we saved $75,000, almost $76,000 in a year for not printing the things on paper. We digitized the content what we had, the invoices, the documents, everything was digitized, and they were saved on disks, which can be retrieved as and when you require. The same thing I'm doing it in my current organization here in Oman. Probably we embark on not using the paper as well. All our invoices used to be dispatched such a huge bundles, but today we are planning to send them in emails. And as and when they require, yes, we can print the invoices. Can we do probably some of that? Well, you can plant trees and join environmental groups. Oman Environmental Society is one of the organizations in Oman where we are the members, and they do a lot of wonderful things towards conserving nature. There are tree planting campaigns, beach cleaning campaigns, and so many, and educating. They invite some of the conservationists in Oman, and as a member, you can go and attend that. I think that is one. I think as leaders, we should adopt these things into our organizations. Well, become vegetarian if possible. It is also good because again, for health reasons, you can be. Put solar panels, which I discussed. Don't buy ivory and animal products. When you go to some countries where they do sell these items, please don't buy them. You could again do a carpooling, camp in parks, and spend your time in the nature. And I'm telling you, the moment we become close, we go closer to the nature, nature comes closer to us. Today, we are running away from the nature. We are involved in the name of capitalism or in the name of growth. A lot of things that we are doing is impacting the nature. Whether it is the greenhouse effects, El Nino, or any of that. But it's all, the cause lies with our approaches, with our practices. The day we change our approaches and we start educating our families and the people and our neighbors and adopting to some of the best practices, then I think we are going to conserve. And that is the time you will see nature being smiley. Thank you.